Now with everyone throwing an event of some kind, you've probably been hired for your first event. Now you want the day to go smoothly, but you have zero experience. Well, don't worry. I'm going to help you out with 6 tips that are going to help you come off as a pro and make sure that the day doesn't end up becoming a disaster. Now there are 6 fundamental shot types that you need to know for event photography. Because if you don't, you're going to end up scrambling for images while having your clients ask for more photos that don't exist. So listen up. Now the first shot type is the establishing shot. This is the shot that allows you to show the scale of the venue where you're shooting. So for example, if you're shooting a birthday party at a hall, you need to take this establishing shot to show how big the hall was and how many people were there. Now this is the foundation of all the shots you're going to be taking during this event, because it allows people who view your photos later to see and understand where various interactions were happening, right? Now this is usually a wide shot, and you can apply this to any other event you're taking. It doesn't have to be a birthday party. That was just an example. It can be anything. A conference, for example, if you're shooting a trade fair, you want to take an establishing shot to show all the vendors and companies that were there. So this applies to all events, and this is essential. This should be the first shot you usually take when you get to the event. Now the second type of shot is the close-up candid. Now these are the type of shots that show the emotional reactions of different people at these events. People should be able to look at these images and understand that the events were a good time or the party was fun, especially if they weren't in attendance. Now I usually like to shoot over people's shoulders to show the context of their reaction. So if 2 people are having a conversation and one of them starts to laugh, I'm going to shoot over the shoulder of the first person and then focus on the person who's laughing to show the context of their reaction. Now I usually shoot a shallow depth of field, so I focus on the subject or the person who's reacting. And yeah, this should be the second type of shot that you should focus on whenever you're shooting events. Now the next type of shot is the candid interaction. Now this shot is very similar to the close-up candid that I previously mentioned, but in this case you're capturing more than one person. Now if you remember what I said previously, I said that whenever I'm shooting close-up candids, I usually shoot at a shallow depth of field to focus on that one person's emotional reaction. But with the candid interactions, you're shooting more than one person, so you want to make sure that you watch your aperture to make sure that all the people you're shooting are in focus. Now the fourth type of shot is the pose shot. Now this is simply where I walk up to a group of people at the event and I ask if I can get a picture of them. Now I usually take candids of them from far away before I approach them, because they're usually having good interaction, and I simply walk up to them and say, do you mind if I can get a photo of you guys? And usually I don't even have to say that. Whenever I show up, they usually just, arrange themselves and pose for me. Now you want to make sure that of course everyone is in focus, watch your aperture. And this type of shot can be taken maybe at the balloon decorations after cutting the birthday cake or at the red carpet. And it can actually happen anywhere in the event, to be honest, because there are going to be clusters of people speaking to each other, different subgroups. So you're just going to have to walk up to them and ask them for a shot, or sometimes they just see you and they pose. So it's very simple. Now the next type of shot is the portrait shot. Now this is very similar to the group photos. I just walk up to people at the event and I ask if I can get a shot of them. Or sometimes they even walk up to me and ask if I can get a shot of them as well. Now before you head to your event, you want to do some research into male and female poses. You don't have to go too crazy, but at least understand the fundamentals of male and female poses, because it allows you to get more creative and it makes you an authority there. So when you have someone who wants to take a personal picture, you can pose them in a way that makes them look really good, and they're gonna appreciate that. So there you have it. Now guys, the next shot on the list is the detail shot. Now this is my favorite, but I make sure to get it off my list right after I take the establishing shot, or as soon as I get to the event. Now these are pictures of maybe the food that the caterers make, the decorations, the small gifts and things like that. Now this isn't essential, but it helps you to establish a good working relationship between yourself and the vendor, so maybe next time they can invite you or they can recommend you to other people. And yeah, it comes in handy with just establishing relationships like that. But for the most part, I wouldn't go as far to say that clients don't care about it that much, but it's more for the vendors. Now you always want to make sure that you don't get carried away with this, because people are the focus of these events. You don't want to go ahead and snap forks and plates all day. You want to make sure that you get the best pictures of people. Now at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you fulfill whatever was agreed upon between yourself and your client in the contract. So make sure you click on this video to learn how to make contracts and protect yourself.